It's time for Cutting Edge Consciousness with Freeman Michaels and Barnet Bain. Thought-provoking discussions and bold ideas from the edge of possibility.
And welcome back to Cutting Edge Consciousness. Freeman Michaels here with Barnet Bain.
I always
cool.
feel grateful
Yeah.
when I speak about heart math. I have received so much benefit
Yeah.
from my work with heart math. So I never ever take it for granted, and I am always amazed at what it has done for my ability to maintain balanced and creative and resourceful. And mostly, I don't think I've ever shared this before, but there was a time when I had heart palpitations and arrhythmias, and there were all sorts of people that wanted to do invasive heart work, and people were talking about ablation and pacemakers, and I was getting very freaked out.
Wow.
And
I had no idea.
Yeah, this is quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
And some of our listeners may know who Joseph Chilton Pierce is. He wrote that Crack in the Cosmic Egg. He's
Of course.
quite wonderful.
It's a great book.
One day I heard him. I'd already been involved in doing heart math, working with heart math techniques, and I heard him refer to his own heart issues and that he was very deeply involved in using heart math practices in order to handle his heart issues. And so I doubled down and did that, and gone. No,
It's so great.
Just gone. Just all gone. And my heart guy and all these people say, "Well, what did you do? What are you doing? Whatever you're doing, keep doing it."
Yeah.
So it's quite it's quite
Empowering.
empowering and
Yeah.
and empowered. It's great stuff.
And I like the idea of a new operating system. And that's not the first time we've used that language. Use it all the time. But again, where the technology is a way that people can digest it and interact with it, and it makes sense to them, And I love that, because what heart math has been doing, things like decoding intuition, right? This is a big part of what they, Doc Childress, who founded heart math, was interested in, and then was able to scientifically sort of unwind it and then create some practices and then implement. If I remember correctly, when we had Howard Martin on, I think he was talking about this, when they would, they were using pictures, and people, when they did the heart math work, some of the heart coherence stuff, they were able to anticipate the next picture, because it was like the pictures would come up. And measurably, right? So they were able to scientifically demonstrate that these heart coherence techniques improve intuition. But now it's an app,
Now it's an app.
It's so cool that it's like I can say, you know what? I need to get my intuition online. Let me go to my app and work with where I'm at and reorganize so that I can be more intuitive. What a crazy technology.
Let me back off some of the runaway thinking that I have. In times of stress and the mind starts going, what if this happened? Well, let me just kind of back that off. So a couple minutes a day, and it's really pleasant, of following a breath pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale, at the same time as you hold a feeling of appreciation or deep care for something that matters in your life. At times it's been the smell of cut grass for me. At times it's been my dog. At times it's been my wife. At times it's been my daughter. Things move around. They move around. Something for which I hold deep appreciation. You hold that. You hold sort of like in the back of your heart while doing the breathing pattern. And very quickly, you will see on the monitor, you'll see a certain kind of heart rate rhythm that shows up like a sine wave, and it's very jaggedy. And within moments of doing that, it begins to change, and eventually it turns into a very gentle very rolling sine wave. And you think, oh my, and you can feel this as well. And the benefit of it is you do it a little bit every day, and it changes you all day and every day, and it allows you to pick up the nuances of your thinking and feeling states and switch back very quickly.
And I love that. And what I love, and I'm going to speak to what I've already said, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but okay, so someone, for example, like let's talk about what we started with, the Red Bull athletes that are high-performance athletes that are sponsored by Red Bull. In order to be successful at this, they have to quiet their mind. They have to quiet the chatter. They have to focus. They have to recalibrate. They have to bring these other faculties online, and then they can get into this flow state, right? And this is what they've been studying, and all of this is sort of, we're overlapping two sets of technologies, but they're not dissimilar. They're basically saying the same thing from different angles. And again, we had this opportunity with Andy Walsh to listen to him talk about how they were using blood tests, how are they using EKGs, how are they using all these various ways of monitoring
I think
their
they're
athletes.
Also using heart math.
They might be. So, but here's the part. I want to go back to my point, which is the point of entry, the point where this information becomes available is at the doing place. Because I don't think you're going to talk people out of the doing state, and I don't think it's required. What is so brilliant about this is the high achievers are going to say, wow, this is a tool for high achievement. I'll try it. What happens when they start to recognize the benefit of organizing their thinking around what matters most to them, their kids, their dog, the scent of fresh grass and the quality that connotes, and that reflects back something important. So there is inherently a reorganizing of priorities. Yeah. It's a back-end piece. We go in thinking we're doing one thing, and we come out going, oh my gosh, I just figured something out. When I'm connected to a sense of purpose and meaning, that's flow.
Well, let me give you a practical example of exactly what you're saying. So I've worked with people either on my own projects, creative projects, or in business situations, and you come at a challenge. People sit in a group in a meeting, and they come at a challenge, and they brainstorm, and they throw, oh, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this, and it is one model. And then I'll ask them to go into their hearts and smell the fresh cut grass, or hold the puppy, or the fresh baked cookie smell, or whatever it is that you can have care for, and do a little bit of breath work, and then to come back through that lens to re-examine the same issue, and to, again, instead of brainstorm, to heartstorm.
I love that.
And what is brought to the table is an entirely different set of solutions. Is not really the right of possibilities. There's an entirely different menu that is generated from that place than is generated from just the mental function. Now, it's not about is one better than the other. That's not it at all. They are both different, and when you have that much more possibility brought to the table, everybody is lifted.
Yeah. And what this speaks to that has come up on this show several times, I mean, I'm going to say many times, because a number of people come on this show who are in the business world, who are talking about leadership and the qualities of a good leader and the modeling of a good leader, leadership styles that are effective. One model is kind of the managing chaos, right? It's the authoritarian sort of, there's chaos and I'm going to manage it. And that's one model. There's a new emerging model, which is creating this sense of being where there's a calmness. I mentioned the example of someone who comes in the room and their anxiety ups everyone's anxiety. There's people who come in the room, there's a sense of calmness, a sense of competency, a sense that everything's okay. And that's a model of leadership. That's a new paradigm. Because look, a lot of what we see in business today, things are chaotic, and the style of leadership is to hunker down, and everyone's got to work harder, and we just have to tough it out. And that is topping out. People are burning out because the 60-hour work week is not a great idea. Life balance.
And it's not effective.
It's not effective, period. So again, all these paths converging.
We're talking in this context, one of the things that you're referring to is the headiness. You're making a distinction between leadership that comes from a headiness, and leadership that comes from, when we talk about the heart, that's an embodied place.
That's right.
So this is a show about consciousness and spirituality, and so
and
much
business and technology,
yes, and all of those things,
Yeah.
and all of those things.
Yeah,
But, from my own personal worldview, my own personal way of interacting with everything is through a lens of consciousness and spirituality.
Absolutely.
Whether it's business or my family, or it is all a consciousness piece.
Yeah.
So much of the tradition of exploration of consciousness and spiritual paths have been about getting out, about leaving, it just may be that it isn't about getting out, but it is about bringing. The other thing you hear all the time is we're spiritual beings having a physical experience.
Human experience.
I think that's also missing the point. We're spiritual beings having a physical experience of being spiritual beings.
That's right.
So
that is brilliance.
So it is about bringing these higher frequencies into the physical, into the body, which is compacted frequencies, which therefore turns them into rolling, beautiful sine waves.
It's interesting.
We are bringing these physical. We are bringing these other capacities into the physical, into the body. So there is much now that being heard around somatic awareness and body awareness, and all of these things converge. We open to everything at once. That is in line with what we look for is what we get. And so because it's what I am looking for, it seems to be everywhere.
It does.
So the heart-mind coherence is about marrying in a coherent way the mental function with the heart and somatic function, bringing it into the heart and into the body and into the world.
It was cool this last weekend when Eckhart said, I've changed my language a little, because he used to talk in terms of higher. He said, I'd say something like a higher intelligence, higher. And he says, I've changed my language, and I think it's more accurately expressed as deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember that. That was powerful for me. I was like, yeah, that's it. Because it speaks to this, about how we're deepening. And it's funny, too, because in this ongoing almost 3-year conversation, 3 years in July, that you and I have been having.
Are we having a party?
We should.
We should.
We should definitely do something. The language of capacity. Deepening is an expansion of capacity, that I've got more online, more of my own faculties online, and there's a more resonant tone to it. It's got something to it, substance to it. So, it's interesting because part of the meandering of this conversation, part of what we set up in saying we're going to have a conversation about consciousness, but we want to do it from the edge. In other words, we're not going to track back to what we know, or we're going to work at least to climb out of that enough to play at the edge of possibility, where we're learning something, where we're growing in some way. And I keep thinking it's a deepening process. I keep coming back to, no, it's a deepening process. And again, it's what you said, it's not an out. I'm not trying to transcend anything. I'm trying to come into this body fully, so I can relate to it from a kind of perspective that we can call spiritual perspective, consciousness perspective. That's great. But I want to be in the experience. I want the embodied experience. And that's more powerful for me. So it's fun to have these little devices that are going, hey, you're drifting, get grounded, get centered, get in your body, come to this physical experience as an expression of spiritual essence or something of that nature.
We've always had devices. We've always had.
That's a good point.
We've always had tools in the outer world to express the inner world. They're all
a sundial,
and they all become, by virtue of the meaning that we grant to it, they become ritualized and ceremonial objects. Everything from candles and sundials to books and Bibles.
Yeah.
To
smartphones,
to standing stones. There's just
right.
Pick one.
Yeah, no, I love that. that again, it's
Our engineer walked out on us.
I know where we're at.
Are we unpopular, or
Oh, yeah,
do
yeah.
we have? Oh, so we have 3 minutes. That's wonderful.
It's good. I'm paying attention to that.
Somebody has to
I've got a
pay
little
attention.
piece of technology over here that tells me the time.
And as Bashar would say, as Darryl Anka would say, as we create time to exist,
Yeah.
as we create it in the moment. It's
Yeah.
good to have these little symbols that play along, that reinforce the game we're choosing, that reinforce the story. Oh, I'm gonna express that energy. It's gonna show up as this narrative. We're gonna have something called time. Then we should have something to measure it.
Yeah, and the idea that we could make it. Let's
And we
make
can
time.
make it.
Let's make time for something. You made that comment when Daryl was on last week, and I love that we're going to make time for something is such a beautiful way of recognizing our own empowered way of responding to our world and interacting with it, again, from this deeper sense of intention and sense of empowerment and expanding capacity and all these delicious things, which, of course, the Heart Math people are so much a part of. So we really support this organization, heartmathfolks.com. Deborah joined us today, and we had just an amazing conversation. I'm excited. I'm excited for the convergence of spirituality and science. I'm excited for the human potential sort of movement becoming what cool technology can we come up with to make us better, stronger, faster, more competent human beings, and my deep and profound belief that that's all going to organize us back to a sense of meaning and purpose that makes life more fulfilling.
I'll buy into that vision.
Done deal.
All right.
So if you enjoy the vision, we invite you to keep coming back because it's likely we'll be talking about it some more, like next week.
Exactly.
So thanks for coming. And keep coming back, too.
Facebook page.
Oh, you like us and like us.
Like us.
We're a little desperate, but just like us for the love of Pete. All right. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.